What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we have another league challenge, and last week we had South Haven, and this week we have the Memphis League Challenge. On our left we have Justin, Ron, Justin Aaron, as he has a white dude shirt on. But we see Scott Arnold on the right, who's actually, I guess, technically our league leader right now. We're having a weird stage right now where we don't have a league leader, and as you see, the camera is shaky. Sadly, we didn't have another table to put the camera on, so I had to actually put it on the table this time that they're playing on. So every time they play a card down, it will shake just a little bit. And here we go. So Scott has a Greninja EX, and Justin has a Landers. There goes a Seismitoad. So it seems like Scott should be in a good position here. You know, Landers weak to water. You get a Quake Punch for 100 damage with a Muscle Band. So let's see what Scott does here. We see an Ultra Ball. We see an N in his hand, so Ultra Balls discards a Shauna and an N and gets a Zubat. And not the Free Fly Zubat, just a regular Zubat. And there we see an N from Scott, so he did have another one in his hand there. And, you know, in each player shuffle the hand your deck, draw 6 cards. Now, I imagine Scott will want to get maybe a DCE. Justin probably wants to get some Pokemon that's not weak to Seismitoad. The question is, what else is he playing in his deck? All we know so far is just a Landers. I think I saw a Hard Charm in his deck, or in his hand earlier, and there's a Hippowdon or a Hippopotas, so maybe he's playing, looks like he's playing Hippowdon actually. Let's see, Scott gets a Muscle Band on the Seismitoad, and there's a Water Energy go down to the Greninja, and we see Justin has to read what Shuriken does. I think that's what attack's called here, but we see Justin flip tails, and the Landers is still asleep. Here we see a laser from Justin trying to put the Greninja to sleep, and he does. Now Justin does have the Shaman in hand. He's debating, does he play it or not, so he's going to play the Shaman here. Get the strong energy on the Hippopotas. Hippowdon does need a fighting and a DCE, but it seems like Justin's going to play the N. Maybe he's scared of a Crushing Hammer. Seismitoad could potentially knock it out if Scott gets a Verbank, Laser, DCE, Crobat, Switch. And that's 100 damage total, which could knock out the Hippopotas. They do have 90 HP. So see, Justin draws back into the strong energy and he attaches this turn. Justin's debating what to do here, and he just passes. Scott looks like his Greninja wakes up. Justin's flipping a coin. He can't seem... Okay, looks like he got tails. He couldn't keep it on camera. He kept flipping it everywhere. But here we see a Mewtwo come down from Scott. There's another Zubat coming down. And there's a... Is that a DCE? Looks like a DCE goes down to the Seismitoad. There's a Shauna. Going to shuffle his hand into his deck and draw 5 cards. I saw an Ultra Ball in there, but I guess he decides to do it. Maybe the other cards in his hand were pretty important. So let's see here. I think I see a Silent Live in Scott's hand. Or maybe is that a Rough Seas? Oh, it looks like a Rough Seas, actually. So Scott could put down this Rough Seas and heal that 10 damage off the Greninja. I'm not sure how great of a play that is. They see a Muscle Band going down to Greninja. They see a Golbat putting 20 damage to the Landorus. How much does this first tag do? I'm not really sure. And there's a very big coming down. So, let's see how much it does here. So he was at 40, and now he's up to 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So it did 130 damage. I guess the first attack must have did 100 total, and then the poison must have brought up to 30. Here we see a computer search. Justin's going to discard a Landorus. And let's see what else he discards here. And a Zerosic. Okay. And let's see what Justin decides to grab here. Okay, he didn't grab a Hippowdon, I know that much. There's a Max Potion heal the Landorus. There's an N from Justin. So he Max Potion for Landorus, I guess just keep it alive. Just in case he can't find a switch or something. Kind of wish he would have grabbed maybe a DCE. I mean, I guess if he left in the action spot, it would have died from poison. Go back into Scott's turn. Justin's debating where does fighting energy go. It seems like it's going to go Greninja here. And looks like the Hard Charm is going to go on the Hippopotas. Maybe not. Okay, it is. Kind of a weird thing because I guess it protects from Golbats and Zubats and stuff like that. But here we see a Hammerhead. 60 total with the poison and 30. It looks like went to the Seismitoad here. Let's see what Scott does here. I don't know, I kind of wish that fighting energy would have went to Hippopotas. So that way Justin has the potential to do damage with the Hippopotas or Hippowdon if he does get another fighting energy. But if he just gets the fighting energy, he can't attack because he needs a DCE. It actually needs 3 energies. Here we see a super scoop up. Going to pick up the Greninja here. I think that's what happens. Or no, he actually picked up the Golbat. Okay. Let's see what Scott else has here. We see a Verse Seeker. There's another Seismitoad coming down. I thought he super scooped up to pick a Greninja, but I guess he wants to get that Golbat down. So there we see a Shauna here. Let's see. Last turn it did 140 total, or 130 total. So this Lander should get knocked out here from this first attack here. So we see Landers going down. Here we see Hippowdon come up. And there's Greninja taking more poison damage. So on Justin's turn, we see he's debating what does he do here. Justin in. Now here's the big thing. If Justin just gets a fighting energy, he can't attack this turn with the Hippowdon. He needs a DCE and the Hippowdon. He already has a Hippowdon out. Hippowdon, it's such a close name. There's a DCE. Does he get the Hippowdon? And, ooh, he doesn't actually. So, Justin's in a weird situation now. He could escape rope, send up the Shaman. There's a fighting energy go down to Hippowdon. Let's see what Justin decides to do here. It looks like he's in a bad situation. All he has too is that Birch. And here he's just going to attack with Hippowdon. That's okay, so he knocks out the Greninja here, and this could be a scary turn for Justin. If Scott gets a Crobat Golbat Laser, he can actually knock out the Hippowdon here. Let's see what Scott does here. We see a Water Energy go down to the Seismitoad. We see a Laser. There we see a Crobat doing 30. There we get a Seismitoad. Here he gets 7 cards. Does he get the Golbat or not? There's a Golbat. Puts 20 on Shaman. Huh. If you will put on the Hippowdon, I'm pretty sure it knocks it out here. It does 30. Okay, nope, it does, but okay, it already knocks it out. I guess I did the math wrong. I thought it had 90 HP. 3, 4, 3, 6, 39. Oh yeah, the Crobat is just by itself knocks it out. I don't know, I just couldn't do math, I guess. But here we see Professor Birch. And let's see, what does Justin flip here? Does he flip tails or heads? Big decision here. Oh, he already flipped. Nope, here he goes. And I'm not sure what he flipped there. Okay, he flipped heads for sure because he drew 7 cards. There's a Seismitoad. There's a Hippowdon. And just a pass from Justin. Alright, so you see 30 damage go down to the Seismitoad. And this Shaman will get knocked out here if Scott has another Laser. So let's see, does he have a Laser or not? And if he doesn't, Justin will have to find a way to Sky Return the Shaman. Because if he doesn't, they'll just get Quake Punch for a knockout. And there's this roasting in Scott's hand, not that helpful. It's a fighting energy, not a strong energy. Scott, it goes back into your hand. If it doesn't work, you can't play it. So there's just super scoop up. It seems like in Scott's hand too. He could super scoop up the Crobats here, but he decides to hold it, maybe to protect his Seismitoads from being hurt. And let's see, what does Scott get here with the Shauna? He gets 5 cards. It doesn't seem like Scott got anything. He kind of shrugged his shoulders. He whiffed the Laser, I guess. There's a... he actually attached a DC to the other Seismitoad. I would actually like to see it attached to the Toad on the far right, so that way he can Grenade Hammer later on in the game here. And let's see what Justin decides to do here. It looks like the Shaman's going to get knocked out. Justin just huffed, so I guess he didn't draw into the DC he needs to retreat this to this Hippowdon. There's a strong energy. It looks like he's debating to put on the Hippowdon or not. Here we see a Sycamore. And he got the DC, so he can pick up the Shaman here. There's the Hippowdon coming down. There's a DCE. And he's going to Sky Return here, picking up the Shaman. So Justin got really lucky picking up the Shaman here. And he's going to send it to Hippowdon. Now you might be thinking, why is he doing this? He could potentially be knocked out here. But he has that Pokemon Simulator in his hand to heal off 60 damage and poison... already all the status conditions, which is great for Justin here. Let's see what Scott decides to do here. There's a First Seeker getting our Shauna, playing it again. Seems like Scott loves a Shauna here. I guess, playing N's not that great right now because he has 3 cards left. And looks like Sycamore might have discarded a bunch of stuff. So let's see what Scott gets here off the Shauna. we know that if he plays Laser, it'll just get canceled by the Pokemon Center next turn, and he would just see a Quake Punch at 450, and now Justin's going to start Resistance Desert, hitting for 60 and making it where no EX Pokemon can hurt him on the side of the field. Here we see Pokemon Simulator, healing the 50 off. I think he played it kind of early. There was no real way that Hippowdon could have been knocked out next turn, so maybe he should have saved it for a Laser. I'm not sure how many lasers Scott actually has, too. There's a Verbic coming down, also getting rid of that Rough Seas. And here we're going to see a Resistance Desert hitting for 60. So on Scott's turn here, he draws a card. Let's see what he decides to do here. He needs to Lysander up something. That's for sure. If he get Lysander, maybe the Toad, maybe the Hippowdon. He'd be in a good position here, but he decides maybe attach the Water Energy to Mewtwo, maybe not. Okay, Water Energy to Seismitoad. I like that play. Getting ready for Grenade Hammer, maybe knock out a Shaman for the last 2 prizes. And here we see a Scramble Switch going to bring up the Toad here. Here's a Chorus getting 8 cards. Kind of confused as what's going on right now. But here's 8 cards from Scott. And let's see what Scott decides to do here. There's a Super Scoop Up. Heads, picking up. Oh man, he should pick up the Crobat. He discards a Muscle Band. He played it like an AZ. But if he would have picked up that Crobat there, he would have guaranteed some damage next turn. So Scott's kind of playing this matchup kind of shaky here. Here we're seeing Muscle Band going down to the Seismitoad. And let's see what Scott decides to do here. So it looks like Justin's telling him something. Scott's probably reading Resistance Desert right now, and probably like, oh man, it doesn't hurt you at all? That's not good at all. Oh, so it actually looks like Scott decided to use Grenade Hammer. Now this is great for Justin. Now he can start playing his trainer cards. Looks like Scott made the mistake of actually Grenade Hammer too early, and I guess he just not knowing what Hippowdon does hurt him there. Here we see a Karina for another Hippowdon. Here we see maybe a Reverse Seeker. I actually like getting the Verse Seeker for maybe Pokemon Center Lady. He needs to play it now, for sure. Yeah, there's Pokemon Center Lady going back in his hand. And here we're seeing Enhanced Hammer getting rid of the DC off the bench, Seismitoad. And here we're going to see Resistance Desert for 6, 8, 10. For 100 damage total. Okay, so Scott's turn here. That Seismitoad is going to get knocked out now. I'm never seeing Muscle Man go down to the Mewtwo. Now, Scott does have an AZ in hand. He picks up the Crobat here. We see a Greninja come down. Golbat doing 20 damage to the Hippowdon. Kind of questioning that because we know that Justin does have the Pokemon Center Lady in hand. He will have to one-shot this Hippowdon to actually have a chance. Here we see a switch, bringing up the Crobat. And just a pass from Scott. But here we see a Lysander bringing up that Seismitoad here. And I think Justin actually top-picked that. And here we see a Resistance Desert knocking out Toad here, and Justin's coming back into it. A couple misplays by Scott, and Justin's actually in this game here. So I know Scott has 3 prize cards. It looks like Justin might have 4. I think he's only knocked out 1 Seismitoad. And here we see another Crobat coming down, doing 30. So the Hippowdon's up to 50 right now. There we see a DC go down to the Seismitoad. And let's see what Scott decides to do here. He could Quaking Punch. Maybe delete the Crobat Axe Spot here. Here we see an AZ picking up the Crobat. And just a pass from Scott here. So we see a DC in Justin's hand. We see the Pokemon Center Lady. He's going to play it here, healing the 50 off. Now, Justin does have a laser. He could maybe stall this Zubat and Scott's. There, if he flips heads here, and Scott flips tails. So there's tails from the start there. So it's going to do 6, 8, 10, down to 90. But then with the poison, 120. If I did the math right here, we'll see what happens here. Because it does 60, 80 with the strong energy, Muscle Band, 100. Resistance 8. Oh, so 110. It should do 110 total. I think that's the correct math here because I think Crobat has resistance to fighting. So there's this DC going out to Shaman. Here we see the Shaman actually gets switched into it. And we're going to see a Sky Return from Justin. Now, the scary thing here is that Scott can actually Quake Punch and hurt this Hippowdon since he didn't use Resistance Desert. They receive 20 damage going down to the Hippowdon. They receive a water engine go down to the Greninja. Here we see an Ultra Ball, get discarding a Xerosic or something else. Does he get another Golbat? And he does. So he could bring his Hippowdon up to 40, which we see right here. There's a water engine. Oh, he already attached return. There's a laser. Now, if Scott brings up the Seismitoad to Quick Punch, he'll be in a great spot. But he sends in the Greninja instead. Huh. Okay. So here we see the Hippowdon go up to 80. 8, 19, 11, 12, 13. Man, I kind of wondering why Scott did a Quick Punch. Maybe he forgot that Justin didn't actually Resistance Desert last turn. So here we see Shaman going to draw some cards. Does Justin hit the switch or not? And he has a Juniper. There's a strong as you go down to Hippowdon. And just a pass from Justin here. He goes up to 100 damage. I just really want to see a Quick Punch from Scott here. But maybe he wants to put bench damage on that Hippopotas or Hippowdon, and that way it gets knocked out instead of him having another Hippowdon. It just actually knocks his deck over and he's trying to count there. So here we see, is that a Water Energy goes down to Crobat? Here we see Crobat come to active spot here. And we're going to see a knockout on the active Hippowdon. Now Scott's down to 2 prize cards left. And let's see, here's another Hippowdon. There's a DCE. We can see a Resistance Desert for the knockout on this Crobat here. But if Scott can Lysander up this Toad here and keep it in the active spot, he might be in a good position here. Here we see a Juniper, discarding sand, draw 7 cards. Looks like Justin has 1 card left in his deck, too. There's a float... Is that a Floatstone? Or a Hard Charm? I couldn't see what it was. I'm not really sure, but here we're going to see a Resistance Desert. There's 6, 8, 10, then 80. Yeah, which knocks out the Crobat. Alright, so Justin's looking through his discard pile, see what's all there. They receive a Silent Lab coming out, just in case Scott has another laser. Brad, I'm pretty sure all of his lasers are played right now. Oh, so it looks like actually it's Scott's second turn here. Turn 2 here. Oh man, this is a big thing here. So Scott's turn 2 here. Does he have a way to win? Looks like time was called and I just didn't notice it. Here we see a Water Dragon Ninja, 30 damage onto the Shaman. And does Justin have a Lysander to win the game right here? There's an escape rope. Now Scott's going to make the correct play, not send it to Golbats. Looks like Justin's debating what he wants to do there. And yeah, he didn't have the Lysander to win the game there. He was just hoping that Scott would have sent the Golbat. And there's a time in the lead challenge. A couple misplays by Scott there. And he could have maybe won the game there, but it happens sometimes. You know, you're not thinking correctly of what you're doing. But hopefully during this round, it was a very close matchup. Looks like Seismitoad should have won there. Just a couple misplays by Scott there. But hopefully enjoy this round. And we'll have round 2 up here in a second. Hopefully you enjoyed once again. Have a great day. Alrighty, bye.